Days as you and I sit here right now, and HarrisX Forbes has a new overnight poll talking about the state of the race between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. What sticks out to you? Break down the results for us.
Well, it's going to be a squeaker of an election. Essentially, the two candidates are in a statistical tie. When we look at, the core permutation of our horse race question, which is the four-way horse race: Donald Trump, Kamala Harris, Cornel West, Jill Stein, and we factor in the leaners, or we push those undecideds to kind of make a choice today because they're going to have to make it pretty soon. We have Harris at 48%, Trump at 47%. So 1 percentage point difference. And despite the fact that this poll that we're releasing today together with Forbes has over 4,500 respondents, because we really wanted to look at the different groups or subsegments within the poll and see which way they are moving or not moving. It's still within the margin of error, right? So it's a statistical tie, whether you look at registered voters, 48 Harris, 47 Trump, whether you look at likely voters, 49 Harris, 48 Trump. And even when you look at battleground state voters, we have 910 battleground state voters within this survey. It's a statistical tie as well. So it's going to be intense heading into the election. And given these numbers and the unpredictability of which way this race will go, the wake of the election might be quite involved as well for many different reasons.
A statistical tie, but the numbers I have right in front of me: Harris is up +1, Harris is up plus 1.2, plus 1.6. Obviously, the smallest of lead there within the margin of error. But if you're the Trump campaign, you're seeing this. You're seeing you're down. So what are you thinking? Or are you thinking, it's high, we're still within the margin of error?
Well, these are good numbers for former President Trump, despite them showing him being down ever so marginally. If you think about where he was a month ago, Harris had a stronger lead across all of the different permutations of the ballot box test, or this key horse race question. And, they have gained, right? And they neutralized her advantage, and then neutralized her momentum. The second thing that you're thinking is that there's a lot of variance in the polls, right? When we released polling together last week, Trump was up by 2. Now Harris is up +1. These kinds of shifts are normal in the composition of a randomized survey. All they're telling us is that it's very, very tight. Now, one alarm bell, or one potential cause of concern for the Trump campaign, is the fact that Harris seems to have narrowed their advantage in these battleground states, or with battleground state voters. And this is a trend that has played out over many weeks, if not over many months. And ultimately, this is where the election will be decided. In our last poll, Trump was fairly solidly up with voters within these battleground states. Now it's narrowing. That tells me that there's a lot of get out the vote, and there's a lot of media push from the Harris campaign, with many ads that have hit in recent days within these states, and that is neutralizing the advantage that Trump had historically. So if I'm looking at this data, I'm seeing Trump grow in all the places where he doesn't really need to grow, right? And the popular vote, and I see his advantage tightening and potentially slipping in the battleground states, and that's cause for concern, because as irony would have it, we might be looking at a scenario that many are not speaking about, but is very valid, which is Trump potentially winning the popular vote in the election, but not winning the Electoral College. And I say it's ironic because that's the position that Hillary Clinton was in 2016, where she won the popular vote but actually lost the Electoral College. So this is something to keep an eye on from the perspective of both campaigns. Uh, but nevertheless, it's a very tight race across the board, wherever you look